Hello, friends. It's your old pal and host of the Akamai Partner Champions podcast, Nick Watkins. Now, I'd like to open today with a short story. Now, many years ago, before my body was made of raw cookie dough and bad decisions, I trained for a charity boxing event. And as I was working with my trainer and going through the plan for cardio and jumping rope and weights and all these different things to get prepared for the big fight, he gave me a bit of advice. And he said, Nick, what I want you to do is at 4 a.m, every morning, I want you to set an alarm. I want you to get up. I want you to do 100 push-ups, and then I want you to go back to bed. And as he gave me that instruction, I thought to myself, that is odd, a little bit of an overkill. I guess I just don't see the point. Why would I do this? And very matter-of-factly, he looked at me and he said, look, you're going to do training. Your opponent's going to do training. But what you need to get into your head is that to win a fight, you need to be stronger, better, and faster than your opponent. And what that means is that you are willing to do what they are not willing to do. Now, even though I ultimately lost the fight because apparently suplexes are frowned upon in the world of boxing, nobody told me this, that lesson has stuck with me throughout my entire life. And the reason I wanted to tell the audience this story is because my next guest is the embodiment of what it means to wake up at 4 a.m, bust out 100 push-ups, and be a little bit stronger than the rest of his opponents. Now, I didn't know a ton about AVANT going into this podcast, but Stefan Semmelroth was one of those people that just blew me away. I mean, that's sort of the fun of doing these podcasts. I get to meet with CEOs and vice presidents, people who have these crazy diverse backgrounds that do these amazing things. And so, before I go in and interview him, I do the standard, I'm going to check out his LinkedIn, make sure, do a little background so I don't totally embarrass myself on the show. And as I'm going through that, I see, Army Ranger, master scuba diver. This guy is like a James Bond in the security industry. And part of me is thinking, okay, cool. He's physically impressive, really driven. But then I started going even further, and it's like, he was in an elite engineering fraternity, literally the top 10% of engineering students. He was part of this. And so when I first met him, I was like, Stefan, I'm not sure if I should be more worried that you could kill me with my own pinky or that you could hack all of my passwords without even trying. That's how impressive this guy is. And so I don't want to step on too much about what he talks about in the interview. So all I'm going to say is, if you're a partner and you want to know about the TSD model, which I think is very fascinating, but also how to be successful with new customers. One of the little bits of insight I'll give you, maybe a little inside baseball, but AVANT is one of the top partners for acquiring new customers. And so as a partner, if you're listening to this thinking, God, I'd love to be able to be better at acquiring new customers, listen to what Stefan has to say, because I think he provides some great insights. Without further ado, let's kick it over to my interview and let's have some fun. Here we go. All right, it is my great pleasure to introduce the Vice President of AVANT Communications, Stefan Semmelroth. Stefan, thanks for joining us.
Nick, very happy to be here. It's been a great day. We spent a lot of good time down at the Executive Briefing Center. Now we got the beautiful view of Boston in the background, Cambridge in the background, and just excited to be here.
Thank you so much. Now, before I even begin asking you questions, I have to give a quick story because Dave Allen, who are, leader of our channels team here, just led a wonderful partner advisory board. And I wasn't really familiar with AVANT before even doing this podcast, going to these partner advisory boards. But what he did is he pulled us in and he said, I've got this amazing partner who has this really unique business model that is taking Akamai by storm. And I'm not going to step on this because I think it's going to sound so much better coming from you. But just to our first question, tell me a little bit about AVANT Communications and your unique business model.
Oh, thank you. So AVANT Communications is a technology services distributor. You'll often hear TSD, or the old terminology was master agent, master broker in this space. And the way that we operate, we AVANT have no direct client relationships. The way that we operate is we build relationships with what we call trusted advisors. So this can range, a trusted advisor can range from a consultant to salespeople to project managers, independent companies that really go deep and broad with their clients. And those trusted advisors own the relationship with the client, and we own the relationship with the vendors to allow them to have great opportunities to bring meaningful vendors and meaningful business outcomes to their clients through us. So we have the entire back office, we have all the legal support, we've got the go-to-market channels. Our job is to clear the way so that way when they have a client with a need, they can solve it through us in a seamless way that's possible. And for the vendor side of the house, it's a route that has about 50% less churn than any other go-to-market channel. And so it's a really beautiful way to help clients with longitudinal, stable vendor partnerships.
I'm kicking myself that I didn't think of this idea 10 years ago. Like, this is just, it's an amazing concept. I'm curious, what is the makeup of those TAs? I mean, are we talking like big companies, small companies, like who these trusted advisors, average company size and sort of specialties depths that they may have?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is an interesting space. It grew up with, kind of started with brokering mainframe time on like COBOL mainframes a long time ago, and then it evolved into hardware brokering, and then it really got its growth with telecom, later cloud and security and unified communications. So when you look at that depth of a product stack, the average trusted advisor that operates in this space has average, we'll say, is about 12 people across the entire ecosystem.
Yeah.
Now that can go down as small as a one-person shop, or as large as the largest resellers, or even some of the GSIs in North America and Europe. And we provide for the larger vendors and resellers. What we do is we establish an elastic arm to where when they need access to vendors or the buyer wants to buy a different way, we allow them a go-to-market path that still allows them to get compensated meaningfully.
Yeah. I think coming from the startup world too, like I think working with companies of that size too gives you incredible flexibility and also speciality. Like you're able to solve unique problems for each of these customers. And so I think that's just one of those things that's just, again, I wish I'd thought of this idea before you guys, because I mean, this is something really cool. And so this really speaks to, I think, the way that you guys are really winning in the market in a lot of ways. I'm going to pivot slightly because I do want to talk about a little bit of that success. Yeah. And too, I mean, Akamai, we've seen with AVANT, you guys are one of, if not the top people for acquiring new customers for Akamai. And so I was wondering if you could speak a little bit to that success. You know, what do you think went into it? What in your opinion made you as great as you are?
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And I like to think of us as an engine to generate new logos. And if you look at, again, what is a trusted advisor? Most trusted advisors have a background in selling to large enterprise. And if you think about, back in the telco days, when telco was really expanding, trusted advisors, when they were still on the sales side, they would lose to their competitors time and time and time again. If they had a win rate of 33%, that was a really great win rate.
Right.
Well, what if we could create a way for them to win 100% of the time by representing each of the different vendors in all the competition?
Yeah.
And so you think about the depth of sales. When those types of late career salespeople want to start their own company, this is a great place that allows them to leverage what they already have, the relationships all they have, the abilities, and the momentum, and they can capture that from themselves when the time is right. And it's fun to watch them. They start hiring, and then they get into the founder's dilemmas of cash flow. And this is a way for them to mitigate and amortize their inbounds. They don't run into the same cash flow problems that a lot of other founders see, and probably about that 2-year mark.
Yeah. God, that's crazy. Well, with such a vast network of TAs, I have to imagine enablement, training, that's got to be like one of the cornerstones of your go-to-market strategy. So I was curious, could you tell me a little bit about how you guys train and develop those TAs?
That's a great question. And it is one of the the 4 cornerstones that we have. And enablement, my teams are responsible for a lot of enablement at AVANT. And we define that often as any sort of training or pre-sales function that's not engineering. So everything from like with Akamai, what is Akamai? Isn't Akamai a CDN company?
Yes.
You are and were and so much more. And so we build training in the field with TAs. We do on-demand. We were just in Texas last week with Akamai was down with us there, talking about the value of Akamai, the ability for a client to consolidate on Akamai services, especially with some of your recent acquisitions with Neosec, and No Name and Linode, on top of the old acquisitions like Prolexic, right?
Yeah.
So clients can now shift entire workloads to be able to design, build, secure, and deliver into the marketplace, and trusted advisors don't know that they've got that opportunity sitting right in front of them. And if we didn't enable them to discover those opportunities, talk about what the end all revenue opportunity is for them to be able to capture that, they would never push the easy button. And so our enablement spends us so much time helping them figure out which easy button is right for them at any given time, and picking those sales motions that align.
I was going to say, if you ever get tired of being a VP, you would be a fantastic marketer. I was like writing down, I'm like, oh man, build, develop, like this is perfect stuff, and simplify this whole message. We're going to be great.
I've got a great team behind me that really, their job is to synthesize and distill all of those packages into a way that we can convert a sales team that may be focused on connectivity or maybe focused on cloud in a very narrow sense into doing something else. And we can't do that unless we teach them how to speak succinctly and candidly, transparently about a new offering.
Yeah, because that's the other thing that just trips me out with TAs too. Is, I mean, you just have to think about all the different specialties, and then making it cohesive for them. And so I think it's a big challenge, but I think the way that you guys are tackling it is admirable, and I think that is very cool.
Thank you. It's a ton of fun too, by the way. It is a blast.
I always love that, especially with API security and some of the stuff that we do. We go out there and actually just show them, like, okay, this is actually what can happen behind the scenes. And like, when you get that light bulb moment for partners and people that you work with, it's just like, there's a little rush you get with that. And it just feels very cool that you can bring something new, a new tool for their sales kit.
That's how we know that we've done a good job at enablement. When you finally see somebody that was skeptical, leaned back in their chair, and they sigh and they go, okay, what's next? All right, we got them. One.
Since we are a partner podcast, I do want to pivot really quickly and just talk about partnership. You spoke about us being down in Texas last week. I'm curious, what's one of your favorite parts about partnering with Akamai?
So first off, Akamai wants to partner, right?
Right.
And not every supplier does. And so when I look at everything from when Akamai made a bet on this go-to-market channel, Akamai changed the incentive structure for sellers to align in order to incentivize this go-to-market motion.
Right.
In order to truly incentivize new logo capture. So there's a desire there. There's also a teaming aspect, right? Everywhere we go across the country, it's clear that you invest so much time and effort into your talent base to really find actual teammates, not just individual contributors, but actual teammates. Because everywhere we go across the country, the question is, how can I help? How can we win together?
Yeah.
And so I see that consistently. And then that also gets manifested in a few other ways, right? When we look at broader enablement and sales motions, Akamai is one of the first vendors that we've had in the ecosystem to truly lean in with deep intent data, which is so much further than simple account mapping, right? If you go back, most of the suppliers and vendors in the space would say things like, hey, let's sit down, we'll do an account map. It doesn't go much further.
No.
And so the value that you bring, you're literally putting value into the trusted advisor. And sometimes they find out more about their clients by talking with you in order to expand, and it's mutually beneficial for everyone.
That's huge. So, side note for the partners listening to this, I mean, this is how you win. This is like the recipe right here. And so I'm very excited about that. Now, I'm going to pivot slightly because I know at the top I didn't really do a good job of introducing where some of the cool things about you that I think we spoke about earlier, but did a little bit of research, but Army Ranger, cave diving, climbing, and also incredibly smart and very deep technical knowledge. And I don't want to waste this opportunity to ask you, as someone with a deep well of technical knowledge, what trends are you seeing in the market? What are your customers asking you for?
Oh, it's a great question. And thank you for talking about the background. We'll have to do another podcast on that. But right now, one of the biggest things that we're seeing, I'll kind of go three different things that we're seeing, if you don't mind.
Of course.
So in 2024, we announced that the word of the year was consolidate. Because I think this actually goes back to Lencioni's hedgehog dilemma.
Yeah.
Where Lencioni talked about how companies should do what they're best at, and kind of take everything else that, if it's not part of their core revenue generating, take it to market.
Right.
And so we're seeing this really develop and matriculate across leadership teams, and they want the ability to go to one vendor or a small subset of vendors to get the majority of what's going to power their business. There's been demand for that for years, and finally there are enough vendors through acquisition and development and suppliers in the space that have built the capacity that allows finally this milestone inflection point for clients to be able to do that. Akamai is one of those partners there, and we do absolutely train trusted advisors on the consolidation play.
Yeah, I mean, use a marketing buzzword. I mean, it's vendor fatigue, right? I mean, the procurement process alone with a lot of customers, I mean, can take months. And so, I mean, having one single platform, having something consolidated to be able to address a lot of these questions makes it a lot easier both for sellers and for customers. And so, I mean, I 100% agree with you. I think that is a great point. I do also want to talk a little bit about AI because, of course, we're in tech and we're going to get asked about AI every single day. So we have to at least give a little bit of credence to it. But just given the breadth of your portfolio, the different TAs that you work with, I'm curious, are there any interesting AI projects you're seeing, or are you seeing more AI come up as you're talking to people? I'm sure people want, how do I actually effectively use this? Or it's not just a marketing buzzword. But enlighten me. What do you think about so just some of the different AI projects and what you're seeing from customers?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we're seeing all of it because we are a distributor with thousands of trusted advisors and their plethora of clients all over. Oftentimes, the hardest problems get elevated to our team because they are problems that weren't able to get solved on the front line. And so we see all of it, everything from GPU as a service, right? Which NVIDIA has a relationship with Linode to give GPU as a service out at the edge.
Right.
So we're seeing GPU as a service. We're seeing data lake development and building out data lake, data discovery, data classification, data normalization, all the data things. We're seeing all of those combined in a way that allows clients to actually make decisions. And so we're kind of seeing this in like a build or buy scenario.
Right.
And in the build or buy scenario, the buy answer is really easy because almost every vendor out there has some sort of AI within.
Yeah.
And then in the CX space, customer experience and call center with natural language processing, that's a really good fit, but it doesn't answer the board's requirements with AI. So, right, it gives us it gives the any client a story of AI, but it doesn't actually necessarily reduce cost or enable revenue in a way that's really profound.
Right.
And so that's where we see data classification, normalization, AI vision consulting, like what is even within the realm of possible, and where do you make a bet, where do you make an investment that meets the board's requirements? Maybe 20% of R&D, 30% of R&D potentially, or even we're seeing those numbers up to 10% of revenue aligned towards these projects in order to stay viable for clients in the workspace. Yeah. So you're kind of seeing it all. And oh, by the way, thank you for announcing Firewall for AI as both ingest and egress options, and we're really excited to go to market with that.
Hey, yeah, 100%. I mean, we didn't hit agentic AI, at least the specific buzzword, but I think that was a perfect answer that kind of covers what we're seeing in the market, and so I appreciate that insight.
I do think clients are concerned about agentic still.
Yeah.
I think if we stop looking at AI like a tool and we think about it like a teammate, I don't think agents are really at that intern level yet. And when they get to the ability where they can kind of hit something on par with like an intern, I think that's where we'll see more trust, faith, and confidence that grows into the agentic side of the house. I think it'll be soon, but I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah. Well, probably next time we interview each other, we have the next interview, we'll have some new AI topics to talk about. These have been tremendous answers, and I always like to ask a personal question towards the tail end of our interview, just because, you know what, we're people, and that's really what makes this whole partnership really work well. And so I was curious, what's a personal goal you have for this year?
Oh, not die. And I say that one specifically.
In cave diving, climbing.
Yeah, I say that one specifically. And we, in our family, there's always been a kind of a charge or a commission to do really tough things. And I've never done an Ironman, so I signed up for the Rockford 70.3 half Ironman here in a few weeks. Yeah. And goal is to finish. The goal is to finish.
I'm curious, what are you most worried about in those ones? Because like sometimes like, oh, I'm a great swimmer, I'm a great runner, I'm a great cycler. It's like everyone kind of has their like, okay, I'm going to nail this part of it, but I'm a little scared about this part.
Yeah. Oh, so this absolutely hammers like the humanity side of it. I was recruited to college to run. And I, after some injuries and some other stuff, I haven't been running a lot lately. And so my swim, I think, will be fine. It's also the first event. The bike, you just get on it, you go, and you don't burn out.
Yeah.
The run, I'm actually, and this fear is irrational, I'm actually concerned about that one.
But I mean, it's perfectly normal. Like, it's just sometimes like, I don't know, like I love running. Like, it's something that just, it's you versus the road. But I think having the stress of those two previous events on you too, and it's just getting used to that motion that you're getting into, like, I don't know. Running is so mechanical. And so it's like, if your hip starts to go, your knee starts to go, that's where you start to be like, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if my tendons, my ligaments, and my bones are just ready for that right now. So time will tell, and maybe I'll be crying on the side of the road for a couple hours, but I will have tried, and I'll get a great story out of it.
Exactly. Well, Stefan, thank you so much for joining us. This was a tremendous interview. I really appreciate all the insights. Thank you to our partners and our customers for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Thank you, Mick. Cheers.
Cheers.